in the Black Business School, and I thought that I would come in for a minute and share something with you. Sometimes at the weirdest times, the good Lord will send me a thought or an idea, and I am a believer that when something is manifest in your mind, you should share it right away. So I'm going to talk about NBA and NFL athletes. And I'm going to call them out just a little bit without being rude, without being disrespectful. But I want to talk about the fact that NBA athletes earn about $3 billion a year in salaries collectively. NFL players pulling about $7 billion a year in salaries collectively. Rappers, also entertainers, love to floss and stunt and show off how much money they have. Well, I think it's time to really talk about constructive action that they could actually lead in the community without taking orders from a white man. So we're going to break this down right now. Buckle your seatbelt, hit the thumbs up button, get comfortable. We're going to get started right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hello. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. This is a place where we believe in improving our community. We put Black people first. That's why we use the hashtag B1. Hashtag B1 means that you are Black first. It means that your community matters more than any other community in your mind. You got to save Black people before you can go save the world. So if you agree with this philosophy, put your hashtag B1 in the chat. Everybody put a hashtag B1 in the chat to let me know we're on the same page. I want to do this video real quick because I think it's important. I think it's something that we got to talk about as a community. And to be honest with you, I'm not really going to respond a lot to any what I call the Negro naysayers, people that have a problem with every solution, the people who don't believe Black people can never do anything on our own, those who believe Black people can't do anything without a white man's permission, those who believe Black people deserve to suffer in misery, those who believe Black people deserve to be in last place, those who believe that poverty is just a part of being Black. People like that they're fine. I pray for them. But this conversation is above their pay grade. I'm talking to the grown folks that are in the room. That is what you call economic maturity. Economic maturity is when you take control of your economic destiny. Economic maturity is when you do the dirty work that's necessary to build. Economic maturity is when you have the patience of an adult, not the impatience of a child. And so those who believe in instant gratification should probably leave the building. Those who believe in delayed gratification, planting seeds, preparing for the future, then this conversation is for you. So if that's you, just type grown, GROWN. Let me know that you're grown, economically grown. Type grown in the chat so that we can know I'm talking to grown folks. I'm not trying to talk to children right now. I ain't got time to talk to backward people. I ain't got time to talk to people that don't get it. So type grown in the chat if you feel what I'm saying. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button, share and subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. So let me tell you what was on my brain, and this is why I'm doing this video right now. It just came to me. I said, you know what, I want to talk about this because I think that this is something that the community needs to consider and talk about. And a lot of the ideas that I throw out there, I'm just going to tell you the truth. My PhD's in finance. Y'all know that. I mention it so that you just know I'm not a guy just running his mouth on the internet. I actually think about these things. I understand the theory of wealth and how wealth is built, where wealth comes from, where money comes from, and how money is obtained and how money is preserved, how money is grown, why one group has more money than the other group, why rich people have more money than poor people, the good habits we have, bad habits, all these things. I understand these things extremely, extremely well. When I talk about this, I have to talk about this right now. And what's going to happen is I'm going to talk about it in a way that's probably a little bit ahead of its time, right? Because I think about it so much. Some of these ideas are just things that aren't going to make a lot of sense to a lot of people. A lot of people aren't going to get it. But here's what I thought about today. It's a very basic idea, but it's not an idea that's really pushed and propagated that much through the Black community. You have these guys in the NBA, NFL, stuff like that, literally hundreds and hundreds of millionaires that are created on a regular basis through these sports leagues. The total collective salary of NBA players is about $3.67 billion in 2019. So NBA players pulled in about 3.6 billion. NFL players pulled in about 7 billion. Rappers, I don't know, rappers probably make less money, but you got some billionaire rappers. You have some rappers who are billionaires who love to tell you that they're billionaires. And they love to flaunt and stunt and show off the money they have. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is not anti-stunting, anti-flaunting, flashiness. Like, I don't care if you're flashy or not with your money. But I think that there's a point where you have to have a type of economic maturity where you go beyond just flashing what you have and showing what you've done. I think when you talk about flashing things, why not show and flash what you've actually done as opposed to flashing what you have? Instead of saying, look, I just bought me a $400,000 car when you're talking to a bunch of people who ain't got nothing but a bus pass. Why not say, I just built a $300,000 school, or we just developed 20 schools. Each school I partnered with Bank of America. Because I'm an NBA All-Star, I went to Bank of America, told them that I want to build 20 schools in the Black community across the country. Each of these schools costs $1 million, and the budget's $1 million a year. But we work with our corporate partners, and we're going to run all these schools, and they're going to be Black-owned. And we're going to partner with Black educators in the community. We have a lot of Black educators that can educate Black children, so we're going to give them schools that they can run, and they're going to run them with no strings attached. And so, give me a yes or no in the chat. For example, if you just talk about, for example, Black people's ability to educate ourselves and educate our own children without interference from other people. How many of you know, if there was a school being built right now, how many of you know Black educators who would love to go to that school and help educate Black kids? Give me a yes or no in the chat if you know at least one Black educator who would love to be on the board, who would love to be part of the administration, who would love to go teach a class, who would love to tutor kids after school, who would put their heart, soul, everything into it, right? Who would literally make sure those kids were better off than they ever had been in a public school. Give me a yes or no. So what you're lacking here is you don't have the capital base, but you do have the capital base. The capital base, a lot that you need to do these things, is right there in your community. And I thought about this because this actually spun off from a conversation I was having with a rapper, and we were talking about different things going on politically. And I noticed that, it was like a flash of lightning hit me in the head. I said, wait a minute, we are grown ass men. And we talk about these politicians like Joe Biden and whoever, and Trump and all these other people, like somehow they're elevated above us, like they're gods. And we're praying to these gods to get these gods to do something for us, right? We're praying to the Democratic Party to deliver resources to the Black community. We're praying to some other, some corporation to give us a job, or some white business owner to give us opportunities. And I said that there's no way you can win an economic battle if you think that way. If you give another man the power of a God over you, where he can manifest, but you can't manifest. That's the power of God. The power of a God is I can see it in my head and make it into a reality. The person who prays to God is somebody who says, I would like for you to manifest this thing for me on my behalf. We Black people need money, so can you manifest some money? We need jobs. Can you manifest some jobs for us? We need schools. Can you manifest some schools for us? So you pray to the God. You fill out the grant application. You fill out the job application. You go and you have the meetings, and you ask them to do things for you on your behalf. And what's fascinating to me is that you have a lot of very powerful people that manifest, that pray to another God to manifest things for them. Let me give you an example. I was talking about the NBA players and in this whole the social movement. They got real big on the social justice, social issues. Social issues are those things that give you a lot of feel-good moments, but don't actually help you put food on the table. I know a lot of Black folks who just want to put food on the table. They don't really care if the gay kids can use the same bathroom as the straight kids. It doesn't matter. Use whatever bathroom you want. They just have to feed their children. They don't really care if you put Black Lives Matter on the wall. They need to feed their children. They need opportunities. They want to have a better life. And the thing about it is that I was talking to him and I said, these NBA players and all this Black Lives Matter stuff, I said, I'm a little uncomfortable with Black Lives Matter because of that whole statement about their goal being to destabilize the nuclear family. I think Black people need nuclear families because our families were destroyed. And the person said to me, this is when the lightning bolt hit me. He said, well, these NBA players, all that Black Lives Matter stuff, That's coming from the top. The people at the top are actually calling the shots and telling them what to wear and what to do and everything else. And you know why it hit me is because when I think about these NBA players, I see these big 6'8" giants who have incredible skill at what they do, a tremendous amount of power, a lot of power. 30 million Instagram followers, 10 million followers on Twitter, things like that. They have massive amounts of wealth. I think that the Greek Freak, I think when he signs his next contract, he's going to be signing for, I don't know, at least 30 million a year, maybe 40 million a year. Who knows? Maybe higher than that. I have no idea. But I saw the word supermax contract, so I know it's going to be big money. So I'm sitting there and I said, this is really fascinating. Here you have people that have more wealth than most corporations. Most Black-owned businesses don't generate as much revenue as an average NBA player. 99% of all Black-owned businesses don't make as much money as one NBA player who makes playing basketball. And so these guys make all this money, have all this power, and they're big and tall and strong and intelligent, but yet they're still taking orders like little boys. They still march to the beat of the drummer where somebody else is playing the drum. They're never like Pinocchio. Pinocchio was a puppet that wanted to be a real boy. So they're not even a real boy. They're just these big giant puppets, and they never get a chance to be a real boy. And they're certainly not a real man, right? Never got to be a real boy. Will never be a real man. You're just a great big giant puppet. Now, I'm not making fun of them. That sounded harsh when I said it, and it's not meant to sound that way. But sometimes I just say it as it comes to my brain. But when I heard the person say that, when I heard him say that they don't get to decide and they had to do it because their boss told them to do it, I'm thinking about the guy at the post office who says, "Yeah, man, we got to wear these blue uniforms because the boss is making us wear these blue uniforms." So I think that. So what I then flipped the conversation on is I said, "Wait a minute." These guys have power. The Black man in his most powerful form should have the power of a god. And I use the man in particular. Women are goddesses in their own way, right? Women create life and women can do these amazing things. But masculine energy, from what I understand, connects deeply to the ability to manifest, to snap your fingers, to initiate, to create things, right? Initiative. That's why they talk about men having initiative. Men who have initiative are more attractive, right? To women. Ladies, confirm this in the chat if you agree. Men who have initiative, get up and go, ambition are manifestors. And what you're seeing is the power of God coming out of them that makes you attracted to that, because that's like a lifeblood. That's a life spirit. We're attracted to things that give us life or enhance our ability to survive, right? So I said, with these guys, why in the world are we even dealing with this conversation where we're talking about some multi-million-dollar athletes with all this fame and all this power who are still taking orders as if they pick up trash every morning, still taking orders like they're working over at Taco Bell. No, these guys, if you signed $100 million contract, you ain't really got to take orders from nobody. It doesn't mean that you don't have partnerships that you have to respect. But if you don't feel like a boss and you making that much money, then I don't know what's going to work for you. You really are stuck in that slave mentality. So let me keep going. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Please do that. And also, we actually have a channel for Black men where Black men do all the talking. It's the Black Boss Channel, theblackbosschannel.com. It's right there. Whatever channel you're on, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button if you haven't done it yet, and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live. So subscribe to the Black Boss Channel if you want to hear what Black men have to say. It's a really great platform. So here's the plan. And maybe there's some people listening who are connected to some of these guys in the NBA. I'm going to repeat some of this over time. What tends to happen is I start talking about something, like I might start talking about something in 2013 and nobody's listening, nobody cares, everybody thinks it's stupid. Then by about 2015, 2016, I'll see it trickling out because I'll just repeat myself, and I'll hit 50,000 people a week with the same message. And then eventually I'll start noticing it picks up because I think these ideas make sense. It just takes time to absorb it. But here's the deal. NBA athletes, NFL athletes, rappers should be connected deeply to topics like reparations. They should be connected deeply to the economic development of the Black community. They should be directly wired in to the economic progress and stability of the community from which they come. This does not mean that they have to pull out a bunch of money and write a bunch of checks, right? This is not charity talk. right? I know that we had that conversation a few days ago about Cardi B and the $88,000 purse. First thing Cardi does is she runs out, talks about all the charity she does. This ain't charity. The Black community is not a charity case. The Black community is one of the greatest investment opportunities that you'll ever see. The Black community is an investment opportunity. That you do not want people to see you as a charity case, because charity means I'm giving you something, you're giving me nothing back. No, an investment means I give you something, you give me more back than what I put in, and then we create a reciprocity, a relationship. It's like think about it like a lot of y'all understand sex. It's like good sex. Good sex is not where I really enjoy myself and you hate it. No, or I have sex with you because I'm doing you a favor. No, good sex is where I love it, you love it, we both love it, so we keep doing it, right? Good economics should be like making good love, where everybody's winning, everybody benefits, so everybody comes back to the table, not out of obligation, but out of desire to recreate that wonderful experience. And so with that said, I think that NBA players and NFL players should have guidance. And if anybody knows these guys, if they want to reach out to me, I'd be more than happy to be part of a committee that helps to guide this effort. But here's the deal. First of all, there should be some sort of fund created where first of all, let me actually back up before I talk about the fund. We need to get rid of all this conversation about social issues. Social issues are a distraction. It does not mean that you can't deal with police shootings. Of course, you're going to deal with that. It doesn't mean you can't deal with whatever other issues matter to you, whether it's LGBT, immigration. I don't care about that. But the problem is that these social issues are distractions from the economic issue. The reason that your Democrats that got elected to office are not talking about reparations is because you let them talk you into focusing the conversation on COVID and police shootings. So when you say, well, are you going to help Black businesses and provide reparations? They say, no, but we're going to protect you from COVID and police shootings, right? So what happens is that you get gaslit a lot. They gaslight you by saying, no, let's not talk about the money. Let's talk about this. So it's like you show up to somebody's house and they owe you money. And you say, well, where's my $50? And they say, well, you look really good today. I like that outfit. Where'd you get it from? Well, no, you owe me money. I need you to pay me. You know what? Oh my gosh, I saw your son. He was outside on a bike. Where'd you get that bike from? Right? It's a distraction. So a lot of times they distract you with the social because they don't want you talking about the economic. The social issues are for people that feel scared, insecure, who have low self-esteem. The economic issues are for the grown folks. The economic issues are because you give any Black family in America access to all the money that they need. You give a business owner $1 million loan, he can solve his own social problems. A lot of social problems are caused because of economic despair. A lot of the reasons that, if you talk about shootings or COVID or anything else, if you get rid of the economic disparities, then those health disparities go away. A lot of the violence disparities disappear. So what I'm saying to you is that in order for these things to work, we must get on the same page. And that means we must focus on two things. Blackness, that means be one, right? Not people of color, not immigrants, not LGBT, not all these extra groups. I want to say garbage groups, but they're not garbage, but it's like a garbage pile of just throwing in this smorgasbord of different groups who are not white males and diluting everything that's Black. No, two things we must focus on. One, Black. Two, economics. So every conversation, then you can talk about the other stuff, right? But every conversation must go through a narrow tunnel where everybody goes past step one, which is you're Black, and then step two, which is that you were focusing on the economics, Black economics. And then you can spread out into whatever. You could be Democrat, Republican, you could be a feminist, you could be gay, straight, I don't care. You could be an immigrant. All those other issues can matter after you start with Black and you start with money. So I want everybody in the chat to write the words Black and money, Black money, Black money. Write that in the chat because that's where the conversation starts, because that allows us to focus. If you focus your energy, you have a better shot at winning the game than if you're spread out all over the place trying to do a million things all the time with a million people. So now let's step to the next point. The next point is the athletes need to do this. They need to get together with a lot of smart Black people. And again, I'd be happy to join them. I don't talk to a lot of people on the phone. I know a few people, like Ice Cube reached out to me. I did not find Ice Cube. Ice Cube reached out, but other people that won't reach out, I can get them connected with my team or whatever. I'd be happy to provide my insights on this. but they need to create a fund, and it needs to be about $10 billion. And they need to go to all. And here's how they can raise the money. I'm not talking about athletes themselves writing big checks. Here's the deal: you have a lot of so-called allies who love to connect to the athletes when they're trying to get you to go tell black people to vote for them. The Democrats do that, or you're connected to them maybe because you're doing corporate sponsorships, or maybe they claim to love you because they all follow you on social media or whatever. Well, I would say to these allies, the black community is my top priority. So if you love me, you love my people. Muhammad Ali had that same principle. Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X used to say, if you don't love my people, then you don't love me. If you ain't taking care of my people, then you ain't taking care of me. Right. So basically, if you're in that category of being an athlete, then you can go to your corporate partners and sponsorships, go to your NBA team, your owner, sure, he'll paint Black Lives Matter on the wall for you, because that doesn't cost him much of anything. But ask him, say, look, put your money where your mouth is. We got this $10 billion fund that me and LeBron and whoever else, or we're all trying to put this together. And we need to raise this capital because our community needs a Marshall Plan. We need to raise this capital because our community needs reparations. We need to raise this capital because our community has been economically devastated for hundreds of years, and it was really hammered to hell through COVID. And so when they say, well, yeah, but we gave you a Black Lives Matter T-shirt. Well, no, thank you, I appreciate that, but we can buy T-shirts. We got plenty of money to buy T-shirts. What we need you to do is we need you to write a check with no strings attached, not one single string attached, to this fund that we're going to have managed by black experts who know how to manage money and wealth and know how to do projects, right? And we need you to put that money in that pot. So you're bringing home the bacon, and your community will cook it. And what do I mean by that? Well, because in the black community, you've got people that know how to manage massive amounts of wealth. They just don't get attention because they're not 6'9" and can dribble a basketball. They don't know how to rap. They don't know how to throw a football down the field, but they know the hell out of economics. You've got black experts who get no attention from white media who can go and run a damn school for you. You just need to go get the money so you can put it in their hands so they can go run the school unimpeded. I'm talking about you're doing an endorsement deal with McDonald's, and McDonald's is like, yeah, we really love you, man. We think you're great. We love how you won the championship, dude. Yeah. And you say, yeah, okay, well, that's really cool. I appreciate that. So one of the things I want you to do, if you're really my friend, is I need you to write a $10 million check to this fund that we have that's going to be used to build a black-owned school system. Now, this is not a white-owned school system that is going to educate black people. Like, this is not something that white people will control. You don't have to use black and white, but you can say with black people, the people in my community are going to be the ones who are going to control these funds. Nobody else gets to tell them what to do. And so, because what happens is another rope-a-dope is the Democrats will come along and they'll say, oh, you need better schools? Sure, we'll build you better schools. So what they do is they'll go pay. So white people will go pay other white people to run better schools in your neighborhood where you send your children, but they don't want to hire the daddy. They don't want to hire the mama. They don't want to let the parents run the schools. They will bring people from the suburbs to run the schools because they don't believe you can run your own schools. So no, what I'm saying is that you've got schools, for example, like Freedom Home Academy International or the Muhammad University of Islam and many others all across this country that are doing an excellent job of educating black children at an extremely high level. I've spoken at both of these schools. In both cases, I was extraordinarily impressed. These are two of the most impressive schools and student bodies I have ever seen. And I have taught all around the world. I have taught in China. I've taught in Europe. I've taught in parts of Africa and South America. These two schools right in Chicago were educating 12-year-olds like they were in college. So to me, schools like that should have a multi-million-dollar budget. And that budget should come from this fund where we put together and devise a plan where with this $10 billion, we're going to go build, 500 schools all across the United States. We're not going to do that little tiny stuff. We're not doing, big things popping, little stuff stopping, right? So we're doing big things. We're not doing little things. So little things are when somebody comes along and says, I'm the Messiah. I'm building a school. I'm building one school. Everyone should get behind my one school. You can't lift a community of 40 million people with one school. No, you need a system. So what you need is a committee, a group of people that are backed by, a couple $1 billion or more of capital who say, we've got a plan where we're going to build 500 schools. We're going to design one really perfect school, and we're going to just replicate that same model all across the United States. And we're going to set it up where any parent that wants to send their child to these schools can do that. And really, the more it's off the grid, the better. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I know there's different ways to run schools and getting government money and all that, but you can also run schools where you don't even need government money. You had people that left slavery with nothing. They had a fraction of what you had that were able to build schools because they realized the basics of education, which is really all you need is a room and a book and some books and some love. And you can educate a child better that way than you can in any public school that's out here where they don't give a damn about your child. Seriously, I'm an educator. I've been a college professor for 27 years. And I know that it doesn't take, tens of thousands of dollars a year to educate a child. All it takes is somebody who knows what they're doing, who gives a damn. Who even if you get that child on the internet and you're watching YouTube videos together and talking to each other and breaking the game down and helping them understand the things they need to know in life, that child's going to be better educated than somebody who went to the best schools in the country. So moving on. So here's the thing. So NBA and NFL athletes, in my opinion, should, as a point of caution, starting with the two concepts of black and money. Black. So we're talking about being black first. We're talking about the money. We're not getting into social issues. We're not going to get distracted with any of that. We're going to go with the Powernomics model, the 5-story building. The Powernomics model, the 5-story building, has economics as the base. If you control the economics in your community, then you can control the politics. Once you control the politics, then you can control the police. So that means you get rid of police shootings and criminal justice issues and all that. Then once you control the police, you can also control the educational system, and you can also control the media. So with this fund, we need to be able to go up that ladder by, one, creating an economic base where we're building schools all across this country. We're also funding black businesses. Again, no strings attached, right? So you've got $10 billion. It's kind of a black bank. The money's being allocated in different ways so the fund is able to actually grow, where maybe there's an ROI for people that actually want to get a return on investment. And these funds are being used to allow black business owners to get all the capital they need to grow their businesses. Again, if you get rid of the social issues drain a lot of the lifeblood out of your ability to move forward. That's why you don't move forward, because you get caught in social issues. It reminds me of I was studying. One time I had a friend that had to get fibroid surgery, and I was looking up how fibroids work, and it makes me so sad. It was making me sad to read it, because I was thinking, like, why do so many black women get fibroids? And I was looking at fibroids. If you know anything about fibroids, they kind of seem like these things that are attached to the uterus. And they're terrible because they kind of just suck blood out of other parts of the body that really need the blood. Like, it's not cancer or anything. It's just this blood sucking thing that kind of just zaps you. And then next thing you know, it's messing with your blood levels and your iron levels, and you're fatigued because these things are draining you, right? Well, a lot of times these social issues, these social distractions are almost like political fibroids in the black community. And I hope that that's not a stupid analogy or too stupid, but I hope you get my point. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you follow what I'm saying. These political fibroids, these blood sucking things, these energy sucking, attention sucking, emotion sucking sorts of things, they keep you from actually making progress. It's like somebody telling you that you want, or your goal is to get 5 miles down the road, and you literally run yourself ragged running in a circle. You're running a circle, or you do a 50,000 jumping jacks right in a row, and you don't move anywhere because you spend all your energy doing jumping jacks. Well, that's kind of what happens when you're jumping up and down over these social issues, and you're not focusing on the things that are going to move the ball down the field. What moves the ball down the field for black people is economics. What moves the ball down the field for black people is when they cut the check. Right. So what moves the ball down the field for black people is that we say, no, we're not people of color. We're not, not just a bunch of non-white blobs in this country. No, we are the descendants of slaves who are owed $15 trillion. It's a simple conversation. We are descendants of slaves. We are owed $15 trillion because we gave you hundreds of years of free labor. You stole most of our wealth. You excluded us from government programs. You did not give us opportunities. You also tricked us into integration, which led to another multi-trillion-dollar theft, where we robbed ourselves as well, because we literally spent more time building your institutions than we spent building our own. So we're no different from a person who never got to raise her own children because she spent so much time babysitting your kids. Those are your kids, not our kids. We want to go give birth. We want to go and create children of our own. We want to have our own family. We don't want to babysit your kids more. We don't want to get a better job as a baby. We don't want to pay raise for the babysitting job. We want to have kids of our own. And then if you want to, you can come babysit for us. So ultimately, when you're talking about building the Black community needs a Marshall Plan. The Black community needs at least billions of dollars, really trillions. And you can get trillions, actually, if you facilitate, for example, in this process with that $10 billion fund. If economic education becomes extremely important and well marketed across the country, I would know how to do this. I mean, if you gave me, gave me access to a budget of $50 or $100 million, I can make sure damn near every Black person who wants to be economically educated could do that. And I'm talking about totally transparent. Like, look, let's put the money in here. I will show you what I'm doing with this money and how we're running campaigns to make this happen. We can change the world with that. Literally, we can literally change the world with very small amounts of money. And so here's the thing. If you have a whole community that's economically intelligent, then they're going to do different things with their money. That 1.4 trillion that comes into the Black community wouldn't disappear anymore because you'd have Black people that are economically conscious, economically intelligent, right? So everything we need is right here in our community. Everything we need is right there. What I really need, what I'm really requesting specifically, and what drove me to make this video, is I'm tired of athletes kind of fucking around. I'm just tired of that. I'm tired of them. I don't want to watch a game and see you tell me the Black Lives Matter when the hood looks exactly the way it did before you started playing in the NBA. I'm tired of, and I'm not really mad too much because I understand some of these guys are young. They're still learning. So it's not me attacking. It's really me trying to say, just basically stepping in as an OG and saying, step your game up, man. Be a man. Be a man. A man does not let the people he loves sit there and squalor in poverty. You are not a man if the community you left behind is in a damn shit tub because you so busy stunting and flossing and showing off your European clothes and your European car and your European expenditures, but you can't go back to the hood and really fix that hood. Like, you're not a man. I'm sorry. You're not a hero. You're not a leader. You're nothing. You're just a guy who dribbles a ball for white people and takes orders from a higher boss. You are just somebody who prays to your boss, prays to your God, and your God writes you a big check and puts you on TV and tells you what to do. Like, seriously, you haven't really tapped in at all to the power that you have as a God to manifest your own reality. That is not boss-like behavior. A boss is a manifester. A boss takes responsibility for his people. A boss says, these are my people. You got your people. I'm making sure my people are good. I'm making sure my people are fed. So if you're not thinking that way, then you're not a boss. You're just a little boy with a ball in your hand with a little bit of money where white folks put you on TV and somehow you think that's successful when really you're damn near working for the enemy. Some of you are literally working for the enemy. No disrespect. I'm not attacking. But I'm literally saying that as Black people, we got to stop messing around with this. This is silly. So here's the deal. Very simple. When you think about NBA athletes and NFL athletes, NBA players brought in $3.67 billion last year in salary. NFL players brought in $7 billion last year in salary. I think we could pull these things off without touching any of that money. But what I need your $10 million, your 10 million Twitter followers, and I need you promoting something other than some lady with a big booty where you think she's cute, or putting jokes on your Instagram that's going to make people laugh, or saying stupid stuff in your or you vouching for Joe Biden and getting Black folks to go vote for politicians that don't do anything for them. I need you to be talking about, you know what? Me and 10 other players got together, just like Jim Brown did and Muhammad Ali used to do and all those real men used to do back in the day. And we're going to build 100 schools across this country. It's really hard. We're going to get it done. We have reached out to our corporate partners and we've demanded that in order for us to do business with you, you must contribute to a fund that we're going to then take this money and we're going to hand it over to a board of trusted Black educators who are then going to implement what it is that we want to see in creation. So we will be the hype men. We'll be the ones who will tell the world what we're doing, and they're going to be the ones who implement. So we're going to go out, hustle, bring home the bacon. We're going to let our Black experts cook it, because I guarantee you, if you go out here and you raise even just something small like $100 million, from your corporate partners, and you hand it over to a board of say 10, 15, 20 Black educators who really put in the work, who really care about Black people, they can take that 100 million and manifest that into something amazing. Maybe they can build a couple universities with that. Maybe they can start, a few dozen schools off of that, right? Because the problem is that you got all this stuff up here, all these people with all this expertise, but they don't have the resources, man. But these athletes they either have the resources, they have access to the resources, right? So you go raise this money. Me and the board, or whoever who's on this board, we go take this money, we start implementing things, and we even create businesses out of this, right? We create an incubator where we create 40 Black-owned businesses, and then you got your 10 million Twitter followers. Well, every time we create a business and we make sure, excuse me, we make sure they're ready for prime time and everything, and then you promote the business to your 10 million Twitter followers, right? Now those 17-year-old boys in the hood who wanted to open a pizza business, now they're making $500,000 a month selling pizza because LeBron put their pizza business on his Instagram and showed up and got everybody eating pizza from these guys' company, right? That's how you build wealth. That's how you build institutions. So sorry guys, I'm choking here. All right, so here's the deal. If you will run down some things that I think are true, that will be true in the next 40 to 50 years for Black people. It'll be truer, faster, depending on how quickly we work. One, you got too many Black millionaires with talent to not have your own sports league. At some point, Black people will have their own sports league. Ice Cube has the big three. I think that more things should be coming. They will be coming. Number two, you need Black-owned media outlets. And you need Black-owned media outlets that can operate without being impeded or controlled by people who don't want what's best for Black people. You can't have, I know you want to have all these so-called allies and all these deep connections to white folks because you feel like being next to them makes you a better person. But some of that's very dangerous. Some of that's really problematic because sometimes people can be overbearing in terms of trying to control you by occupying the minds of your children and occupying the minds of your people. So you have to make sure that the dog is wagging the tail and the tail is not wagging the dog. You must be the one who is actually taking the lead on the agenda and not letting them tell you what the agenda is going to be. Next, 3, we need schools run by Black educators. I talked about that, right? Again, the $10 billion fund, part of that, we can build some Black-owned schools. We can take some models that are already working, like Freedom Home Academy International, and we can literally just say, what would happen if we injected $50 million into that model so that we could truly scale that model on a massive level? And then also, we have transparency. We get a team of experts in that can really make these schools as efficient as possible and really look at the numbers, really, go systematic. Remember, I told you guys the effectiveness of the Joe Biden, Bill Clinton crime bill, and the reason that they were so effective in exterminating your families is because they were thinking on a systematic level. They were thinking, okay, if we put $10 billion into building hundreds of prisons and put 100,000 cops on the street, then we can eliminate this whole element from our society, right? Well, the same thing is true when you talk about eliminating ignorance on a large scale. You have to think systematically. So you say, what if we took that $10 billion or a chunk of it, let's say half a billion of that 10 billion, and we put that toward building dozens or if not 100 schools across the country, and then also we employed 20,000, 40,000, 30,000 whatever teachers to run these schools all across the country. We can educate Black children at a higher level. So the building of Black-owned schools, also Black businesses are extremely important. If we have more Black businesses that could create Black jobs, then Black college graduates would not have as much financial distress. Dr. Claude Anderson talks about in Powernomics how much of the reason that a lot of your Black college graduates are in student loan trouble is because most of them default because they don't have businesses that they can go actually work for once they graduate. They have to go work for white people, and they don't own those businesses, and that's not their community. Those businesses are not built for the betterment of the Black community. So they go back to the hood. There's no jobs in the hood. All there are people looking for jobs. All there are in the hood, in many cases, are people that are going to the white neighborhoods to support the white neighborhoods and getting a little survivor check, a little sharecropper check, right? That will help them pay the rent to their white landlord, right? But they're not really getting anything that actually means creates meaningful economic infrastructure that is built to thrive and grow. So you need massive amounts of funding for no strings attached loans and equity investments in Black-owned businesses, as well as a training ground where these Black-owned businesses can be trained. So, for example, one thing I did actually, I mentioned this. I mentioned this to Ice Cube. I mentioned some other people, and I'm gonna do this. Like, this is gonna happen. It's just after COVID. Once this is done, we're doing this. But I'm gonna go to Gary, Indiana. Actually, that's gonna be where I want to start. And we're going to buy a building and we're going to create a business incubator. And that's going to be a place where basically you can get funding for a business, but you'll get training and connections and resources to ensure that your business is successful. I chose Gary because Gary is close to my heart. Gary has a lot of Black people. Gary, actually, if you read Powernomics, is near the top of the list of the cities where Black people should begin aggregating their resources in order to build an economy. In addition to that, Gary has a lot of talented people, also a lot of low-cost real estate. So Gary is the city that I have my eye on. But Gary is the template. If that works, then I want to expand into other cities. But anyway, enough of that. What I want to say, though, is that if you create scenarios where you can bring Black business owners in, you can take these kids on the street that are hustling, like the whole meat mill store. You got the little water hustlers, little kids that know how to hustle and sell their water or whatever. Well, all you got to do is take that energy, that hustle, that ability, put them in a structured scenario where they can actually learn all the different ways that same hustle can be applied in a way that economically benefits them, having them understand what wealth actually is, what it looks like, so they can know how to obtain it, so they can put their energy in the right direction. And then what you do is you give them the rocket fuel that they need to apply what they're doing, right? There's nothing worse than being a hustler that has no resources, right? Because then you're hustling with nothingness, right? So, but if you are a hustler and you have resources, then you've learned how to shoot a gun and you've got plenty of bullets and you've got the best weaponry available. Well, then at that point, you can go to war. At that point, you can go to battle, right? So I want to see Black businesses out of this $10 billion fund that the athletes should be able to pull together with their allies, their so-called allies, all these corporations and white people that claim that they love you. Instead of wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts, tell them you want them to put money into a $10 billion fund. And then the last piece is just basic community development projects. You have to do things that go outside of economics. This is not a purely capitalism will not save you. Capitalism, unfortunately, has to be actually contained. It's a lion. Capitalism is an economic lion, but the lion needs to be kept in the cage, right? So, but the lion can have benefits if it's a tamed lion. But if the lion's not tamed, then the lion will eat everybody and take all the food, and you don't want that, right? But you need a little bit of capitalism because that will accelerate you in a way where you can actually compete economically. Capitalism is really, really super, super competitive, and that's one of the good things about it. The downside about that, though, is that competitive behavior can unfortunately lead to predatory activity. So there must be something in this fund that relates to things that don't necessarily get a financial ROI, but community development projects. For example, there are thousands and thousands and thousands. How many of you know a Black person who is trained in some sort of therapy, social work, or whatever? How many of you know Black people who are, social workers or counselors or psychologists or therapists? Give me a yes or no in the chat. Okay, so part of this fund would be applied to, for example, among other things, developing a process where these therapists can be compensated to work with Black folks to help us deal with the crazy trauma that comes with being Black, so that we can become mentally healthy, right? Overcoming slavery is deeper than just writing a check for people. It's about educating people. It's about teaching people to trust and love each other again. It's also about teaching people basic skills that are going to be necessary for their success in life. When I decide what I want to learn and what I want to spend my time being educated on, my process is very simple. I don't want to spin my wheels. I'm an expert educator. That's what I do. That's what I've been doing my whole life. I have more I had more education at the age of 25 than most people have their whole entire life. So I am severely overeducated. Now, and one of my criteria on whether or not I'm gonna spend time reading a book, taking a class, getting training on something, is I then look at the big arena of life, the arena of life where I'm in the playing field and I'm competing with other people. And I say, will this skill help me compete in the arena of life? Will this help me find my bliss? Will this help me have a better life? Will this help me create my peace? Right. So then I think, okay, so what matters in my life? Well, you can summarize what matters in life in three categories, really. Most of it falls in one of three categories: health, wealth, and relationships. Health, wealth, and relationships. So one, So if you want to think about what this $10 billion fund can do, well, one is you think about health. Okay, so we need health experts so we can be physically and mentally healthy, right? So that we know not to eat the Popeye's chicken. We aim for the fruits and vegetables or whatever it is, right? Dr. Sebi concepts, whatever it is you believe in, right? And then you talk about mentally healthy. You got a lot of crazy people that are traumatizing other people. Also, it's creating crazy family situations. So that mental health piece is important. Physical health piece is important. So maybe you throw in some space for the creation of Black-owned hospitals, right? So that, in case everything goes down and the whole grid falls apart, you've got hospitals that you actually own where you can actually go there and be safe. And then wealth. Wealth is important. We talked about wealth enough, of the creation of businesses, investment in assets, ownership of real estate. Black neighborhoods should be owned by Black people. There should be a pathway for that. There should be a value system that wires into that, so that in the event that you get an opportunity economically to make a move, you make the right move, right? If your culture and your value system says property ownership is one of the most important things in the world to me, then that means when I get an extra dollar and somebody says, oh man, you got that 10 grand, let's go get you a Gucci bag, I'm gonna say, no, I need to get me a house. Right. I need to understand, like, no, I don't want to be an economic sucker anymore. So you go get a Gucci bag. I'm going to go get me some land, or I'm going to go get that rental property I wanted so I can have an income stream. Right. That's a mindset. That's a culture. Right. So you got the Gucci bag culture, and you got excuse me, sorry, I'm choking here. You got the asset acquisition culture, the Gucci bag culture, the asset acquisition culture. And then the last piece is relationships. The ability to relate to one another is probably the most important aspect of building an economy and developing the infrastructure of a community. One thing Dr. Claude Anderson talks about a lot is that you don't have communities anymore, you have neighborhoods. And a community is kind of a nexus of relationships that have a code of conduct where you can get along because everybody follows the code. Well, we lose a lot. We lost a lot of those codes for various reasons I won't go into, but understanding relationships, how to create them, how to maintain them, how to resolve disputes, how to get over conflict. Those things are really important because that's how you keep marriages together, which is an important component of wealth. You keep families together, so you're all working together in the same purpose. Your business thrives because everybody believes in the family business. Everybody has a role. Everybody respects a hierarchy. Everybody's contributing to the same pot, which is in contrast to the previous model you have, the slave model, which is we're all going to get up in the morning, drink our coffee, and leave the house and go work for a white man, right? We're not only dispersed, but we're literally applying all of our human capital and giving it right to our oppressor, giving it right back to our oppressor. Same thing happens when you spend money. If you're trained to go just spend money without thinking about where you're spending it, and you're going to spend with white-owned businesses, well, guess what? That money doesn't stay in the Black community. So you have to really think carefully about who you are and what do you have that's valuable. And it's not just your money. You do have your money. You do have $1.4 trillion in wealth every year to work with, but you also have, your intellect, your time, your energy, your resources, your attention. Even your attention is a commodity. They actually have monetized attention. Has anybody ever heard of the basic attention token? There's literally a cryptocurrency based on attention, right? So your attention, when you watch TV and you're choosing to watch white-owned media instead of Black-owned media, you are rewarding white-owned media by giving them the wealth that comes with your attention. So when you go see the Black Panther, instead of going to see a Black-owned movie, you're giving them your attention. And that's okay. I'm just saying that that's what it is. And you got to be conscious of that, right? Because if you give it all away, then you have nothing for yourself. Right? That's a very, very basic concept, but you have to understand that. So that economic consciousness of saying, what I have is valuable. What I have is precious. What I have to offer really is meaningful and relevant. Who am I giving it to? What team am I on? What are my core values? Well, go back to the beginning of this conversation. I said every conversation about moving forward should start with basic ideas. One, we're Black first, right? Black first. That's it. I can't be nothing else till I'm Black. Okay, I'm a Black man. All right, good. Next, economics. Cut the damn check. Don't tell me. I don't care if you appointed a Black Secretary of Defense. Good for him. I don't care if you told me Black Lives Matter. I already knew that. I don't care if you decide you want to have a Black History Month dinner at your school. That's good for you. Maybe you'll learn some Black history. That'll benefit you. I need you to just go ahead and cut the check because we got this. We got this. The no involvement from other people is not necessary for Black people to do what they got to do. Do you understand what I'm saying? You always want to invite white people to the party, and sometimes they don't need to be there. It's not. I mean, there may be white people listening. I got white friends. I don't hate them. I really don't. I'm not. This is not a hate thing. This is a leave us alone thing that says we got everything we need. Just if you want to help cut the check, if you want to help pay what you owe, right? And so these corporations who have made billions of dollars off of black people, trillions of dollars off black people, actually, who will claim to be your friend. Well, if you claim to be my friend, then prove it. Just like in real life, if you really are my friend and I'm in distress and the people I love are in distress and you don't come through for me when the people I care about are in distress, then are you really my friend? If you're my friend, if you claim to be my friend and I tell you, my father is sick and he's dying and it's really bothering me, and you don't care, you want to talk about something else because you don't think that my father dying is very important, are you really my friend? You got to ask yourself that question, because that's where the athletes are. These NBA athletes, NFL athletes, and I'm not putting pressure on them. I'm just kind of laying it out like it is. I mean, I hope this can be taken in the spirit that it's intended. But basically, sure, they're doing good, and they got a lot of allies. They got a lot of friends. So, if you become an NBA, NFL player, you definitely gonna have little white girls that want to marry you. All right, they wouldn't want nothing to do with your butt if you was back in the hood, but they want you now because you got money. They're thinking about their legacy. They're doing what Scottie Pippen's wife did. She's a gangster. She's an accountant. She counted all of his nickels and made all of her plans. And long ago, right? God bless her for that. I don't even care, but that's what it is, right? So you got plenty of friends and plenty of allies, but your community is in continuous distress, and you're allegedly the strongest, biggest, most successful, most capable, wealthiest people in that community. So are you a man or are you not? If I'm the big man of the house, if I say I'm the man and the people that I'm supposed to defend and protect and support are suffering, then am I really a man? Well, I would say that the choice is up to you to decide how to respond to that. But I think the call to manhood needs to be economic, and it needs to be something that's based on building. We've got all the expertise that we need. All we need is the money. All we need is the resources. And I think it can be done in a way where we're not asking people to write checks, forget charity and all that stuff. That's fine and good. Do your charity. But we're talking about investment. You don't build a community with charity. You build a community with investment. So what are you investing in? Where's your money being put? That's it. Where's your power being put? Where are your resources being put? Where are your allies writing their checks to? That's it. That's all I got to say. Thank you guys for listening. The allblackagenda.com, that's a page where I put together a bunch of resources and ideas and concepts on the Black agenda as I see it. I don't think that we need the government to co-sign on the Black agenda. I think that we can have a Black agenda because we just said so. So if you want to implement a Black agenda in your house, in your life, in your family, there are resources right there on the allblackagenda.com. I also put links to other things. Like, I really think I highly recommend you take a look at Ice Cube's contract with Black America. He did a great job with that. His team did a really good job. I didn't write any of that, right? I did talk to him about it several times, and maybe some of my ideas got incorporated. I don't know. I didn't ask, but I read it and I liked it, right? And I really think that we have to practice the idea of believing that we are important enough that we have our own conversations without even worrying about what they're over there talking about in their community. Who cares what Don Lemon and his little buddies are talking? Don Lemon's got his allies or whatever. Who cares what they're talking about on CNN? You need to talk about what's happening with your space and your people and what matters to you. You can do it. You have everything you need. And at the very least, start off with what Ayanna Van Zandt used to say, fix your life. Think about your life and implement a Black agenda in your life so you can fix your life, fix your family. And then we can also think about the broader community. So not only should our community be first, so not only am I saying be one, right, where the Black community is first, I also want you to be me one. Why me one and us one, right? Me one means that if I want to be a great asset to my community, I got to make sure I'm good. I need to educate myself. I need to think about my health. I need to do some things to put myself in a position economically where I can be successful, right? Then it's us one. Us means you and your family, right? So because I'm sorry, I don't want you taking care of Boyce Watkins and his agenda before you start taking care of your family. right? So you know, your wife, your kids, your husband, your whatever it is, whatever situation you're in, it has to start with that. And then at that point, you can sprout out to the community. Then you're B1. So literally, when I say B1, it's like you literally have to go through a couple layers to even get to the B. So why are you starting at the end of the horse, at the tail end, and working backwards? A lot of folks start off W1. They start off with white folks first. They start solving white people's problems first. So all your energy gets dispersed. All your money gets taken away. All of your time and human capital gets sucked away, because every day you get up, you go work for a white person, you build their business, not your own. Then you go to your white landlord and you pay his rent, and you're not buying a house for yourself, but you're buying a house for him, because he's taking your rent and he's putting it toward the mortgage. I own property. The people that rent from us, they pay us rent. That money goes right to the mortgage, which gives us more equity. It's a crazy system. How in the hell is my equity and ownership going up? Because they're paying for it. Well, you know what? I saw the system. I said, sign me up for that. I signed me up to be the jockey. If it's a choice between being the horse or the jockey, then I'm going to be the jockey. I ain't trying to be the horse, right? And so think about this. You get up, you go to work for a white man, so you build his business, not your own. You pay rent to your landlord, so you're buying him a house, but never a house for yourself. You go out and you spend on consumer items, so you are building corporations that will create wealth for other people, and you have nothing for yourself, right? Get on the other side of that equation and educate yourself on that, so you can at least be a beneficiary of this system. If you don't consciously do it, in fact, this system is actually one where the conscious, unfortunately, end up exploiting the unconscious. If you're unconscious, their goal in general is to almost always keep you numb, to keep you stupid, and to keep you asleep. Right? Again, it's like if you think about the way a pimp might operate, a pimp does not want to deal with, if a pimp's trying to really do some pimping, he doesn't want the person he's trying to pimp, he doesn't want them to be alert and intelligent and asking hard questions and empowered and all these other things. You want, if you're pimping, seriously, think about it. If you were a pimp, you would find that girl that's got low self-esteem. Maybe you get her hooked on drugs, so she's thinking about getting the crack. She's not really thinking about nothing else. Maybe you want her to be, when you're robbing her of whatever else she's got, you maybe get her while she's asleep. Predators take advantage of people while they're asleep, right? You really don't want her to be in a position where she's conscious and alert, right? You want her to be in a position where she's desperate, where her self-esteem is low, where her intelligence is low, where she is numbed up, maybe on dope or whatever, right? That allows you to exploit her and to control her. So a lot of our community, unfortunately, is drugged up. We're kept drugged up the same way they drug up the chickens at KFC to make them fat for the slaughter. So they dope you up with media. They dope you up with horrible food. They keep you uneducated. They keep your self-esteem low. And most importantly, this is a big one too, that allows for unconscious exploitation, is they keep you afraid. They always keep you afraid, and they convince you that so-and-so can be your superhero. So because a person who's afraid, again, just like that little girl who's approached by the pimp, if she's scared, then the pimp can say, well, just stick with me, baby. Just do what I tell you, and I'll make sure you're safe. Right. So I just want you to understand this and think about this. So be alert, be conscious, be intelligent, and also be economically mature. Let's play grown folks games. Let's not do this little kid stuff anymore. You're not children. It's time to grow up. All right. So do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. Share, subscribe button before you go. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. So some of you are watching from Instagram. I want to say hello to everybody over there. And also, I hope that this conversation helped you. I'm literally recording this at 3 a.m. Eastern time. And I just started talking because it just came to me. And I said, these athletes, my God, this is $10 billion a year in salary collected by these guys, and they have another probably $1 trillion a year in just connections with their corporate sponsors or whatever. They can actually help with this process. So they just have to be conscious. Like, stop with the Black Lives Matter crap and start really doing some. Start cutting some damn checks. Build a fund. Do something. You don't have to write the check yourself. Get your little corporate sponsors and get your team owners and all these billionaires and white people you have access to. Because remember, you're privileged. Your community does not have access to these people. They do not have access to this money. They do not have access to those resources. You do. You do. So go get the bacon and bring it home and let the experts in your community cook it. That is a plan that I think would work. That's a power plan. You don't need permission from nobody, but you gotta have the confidence to manifest that. You cannot sit around and wait for somebody to give you permission, or you'll always be sitting there like a sucker. It's like going into a basketball game and you're waiting for your opponent to give you permission to shoot the ball. They will never give you permission to shoot the ball. You must take it to the hole and you must dunk on them motherfuckers. And if you don't do it, then that makes you a punk. So I gotta go, guys. I hope that this makes sense. I didn't mean for it to be mean. I hope that it was helpful, but that's what I'm thinking. And it just came out the way it was, and that's what it is. So have a good night, everybody. It was good talking to you. Hit the thumbs up button before you go. TheAllBlackAgenda.com is where the resources are that I told you about. Feel free to go there. And also, please share this video if you think other people can benefit from this, because the goal is to spread a message that's going to counter the mainstream stuff that you see out here. All right, I'm out of here. Have a good day. I'll see you soon. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.